When everybody in this world is dreaming to be a Formula One driver, you go fast, make millions, travel the world, people scream your name, and even make a song of you. Sounds absolutely perfecto. But the moment you actually sit down and look at what these guys are going through, not just on the race day, but literally every single day of their lives, so you start thinking, maybe I'm genuinely good just watching from my couch with my snacks. Because the thing is, we only see the highlight, the podium, the champagne, and the luxurious Instagram posts on the yachts. But nobody even making a video about what happened at 6 a.m. on Tuesday, when there is no race, no camera, and no fans. So today we are going deeper and talking about what it's like actually live as a Formula One driver. At the end of this video, your fucking perception is going to change. Let's start with the physical health, because this is where it gets immediately insane. I mean, a lot of people genuinely think Formula One drivers are not real athletes. Like, oh, they just sit there, turn the wheel, and drive on the freeway. I used to think the same way, but now I'm realized that's the worst thought I ever had. Imagine you sitting in the box the size of the bathtub with around 50 degrees. You wearing a full fireproof suit, gloves, boots, and a helmet, and you are doing this for 90 minutes straight. While your heart is beating faster than the Formula One car itself. It was the same intensity as running a marathon, but a different way. So all the heat there was nowhere to go. And also, every time you hit a corner at 250 kilometers per hour,
I am stupid.
and the G-force had 5 times of your own body weight. Well, the weight is actually combinations between your head and helmet, which is already 7 kilograms. You race over 50 to 70 laps per race. So your neck is doing an absolutely insane amount of work of the entire races, which is why the neck training is literally one of the most important parts. When I say neck training, it doesn't mean some light stretching like what we usually did before running. Michael Schumacher was famous for his extreme neck training program, and even his trainer was impressed. Well, this is just the race day stuff, so let's talk about the daily training. Formula One drivers train around 3 to 4 hours a day, every single day, no weekends off, and no public holiday. Their body is a tool in the peak conditions at all times. So the training includes the intense cardio like a cycling, swimming, and running. Reaction time drills for 0.2 seconds or less for the racing reaction. So all the training here is for a 90-minute single race that makes them lose up to 3 kilograms of their body. You literally make your body lighter just sit inside of the car. Lewis Hamilton once said after some races, especially for the ones with the hot climates, he feels completely hollow out, like his body has been through something it wasn't designed to handle, and that man has been doing this for over the years. So the next time if someone tells you if Formula One drivers are not the real athletes, show them this. Okay, this one actually stressed me out just thinking about it, and I'm not even the one who can live it. In Formula One, weights are matters. This is a diet prison. Every single kilogram that added to Formula One car affects to its lap time. So the teams who spend around hundreds of millions of dollars trying to find a tenth of the second per lap. It's a very interesting in keeping all drivers as light as possible, which means every driver has a personal nutritionist who can control everything. What goes in your body, when, how much, what's the nutrition combinations until they race to. All are planned. So some drivers during intense training periods have admitted to eating around 1200 calories a day. This is actually less than the basic adult with around 2000 calories. 2009 world champion Jenson Button even described his diet at one point as eating to survive, which actually broke my heart because this man had $1 million who can enjoy all the food from any Michelin star restaurant in the world, but he must follow the restriction. Alcohol almost completely off limits, junk food officially gone, and random snacking definitely forbidden. You are traveling around 23 weekends a year. Sometimes you are in Monaco, Japan, and Brazil. Every country has an incredible food, but Formula One driver only focus on calculating their calories. Carlos Sainz even talked about this once, how being in certain countries genuinely painful from the food, which has amazing smell, but you were on plan. And here's the saddest part, because Formula One drivers are under so much pressure to maintain their weight. Even the several junior drivers over the years have spoken about being told by the team managers or the coaches they need to lose the weight just to be lighter in the car. The physical stuff is completely brutal and extreme, but the mental pressure of the Formula One driver is a different category of suffering.
Formula One for us drivers is as much
about mental health as it is physical health.
Preparing your mind is, of course, as important as preparing physically. If you don't feel good in your head, you are not going to feel good physically.
So imagine you are surrounded by over 500 people to analyze your performance. From the engineer, data analysis, strategist, and the executive. So each of them is looking at the number that tell them exactly how good and bad you are. Your lap time is compared to your teammate. If you're getting slower in the qualifying, that's actually show up immediately on screen for around 500 people to see. There's nowhere to hide. One bad race, people start asking questions in the press conference. Two bad races, journalists start writing the article with the words of the question mark. Three bad races, your team quietly having conversation about the driver option for the next season. This is how the horrible sport R works. Every week, you always have the pressure to perform, and they need to know every difference of the 23 circuit, know every single breakpoint, every apex curve, and how the track changes throughout the weekend, how the tire strategy changes their approach, and they need to be able to recall all of this perfectly while traveling at 300 kilometers per hour. And there is the simulator, which sounds really fun. Oh, you get a playing racing game, but the simulator in Formula 1 is not a game. The Formula 1 drivers need to give the feedback that needs to be precise and technical and useful for the engineer. The car feels a bit loose at the rear under braking in the turn 7 on lap 8 with a full fuel load. But I'm not sure we can do this properly in Ferrari. Sebastian Vettel, who I think represents this mental pressure side better than almost everyone. He speak at Ferrari when he was chasing Lewis Hamilton for the championship. He said in interview that would regularly wake up at 3 a.m. for unable to sleep, just lying there thinking about the car strategy and what went wrong during the race. Again, this is already a 4-time world champion and one of the best driver of his generation, also had the sense of the pressure. In 2016, Nico Rosberg achieved what he had been working towards his entire life. He beat Lewis Hamilton and became Formula 1 world champion. A dream finally came true and cost him a friendship, stressful, sacrifice, and everything. On the other hand, he said if winning didn't feel like happiness, that is the mental cost of being at the absolute top of Formula 1. That should change how you see every single driver on the grid. So there is a 23 race weekends in Formula 1 season. It's a race weekend is around 3 to 4 days. You also had the testing session and pre-season testing sometimes. Simulator days at the factory. Sponsored event until PR activities. When you add all of that up, the average Formula 1 driver is away from home for somewhere between 200 to 250 days per year. So out of 365 days, you are at home. So now let's talk about what happened in those 250 days when you are not at home. Your kid's birthday, you might miss it. Not because you don't want to be there, because the Grand Prix schedule cannot negotiation.
What? It's for the wife. Oh, 20 shekels. Right. What?
Your anniversary, same thing. First day of school, sports day, random Tuesday when your kid just needs you to be there. And all of these things are happening without you. Well, this happen every single year for your entire career. Which for a lot of drivers has a Formula 1 career around 10 until 20 years. Kimi Raikkonen was interviewed once and someone asked him what he missed about being on the track so much. And Kimi said, my kids are growing up. Well, that's got me a lot. Because Kimi Raikkonen is not the kind of person who said vulnerable things publicly.
Congratulations on the podium. How close were you off from being able to catch Max Verstappen, if at all? And when you made your Formula 1 debut, he was only 3 years old. That probably doesn't sound too good.
The romantic relationship side of Formula 1 is equally brutal. Think about what it takes to be the partner of a Formula 1 driver. You are signing up for a life where your person is gone most of the year, where every conversation during race weekend is distracted and rushed, where the sport will always take priority over everything else. Some partners adapt to this and fully integrate into the Formula 1 world, and that genuinely works for some couples. But for the others, the distance is just too much. Relationships that look perfect from the outside that quietly broke apart because the lifestyle was simply incompatible with the normal partnership. And here's the thing, that's easy to miss even the drivers are at home. Mentally, they are thinking about the next race, the next season, the next problem with the car, and the next contract negotiation. Mark Webber said, Formula 1 takes everything and then it asks for more. That's the family reality of being a Formula 1 driver. I know that's what you are thinking, and when we talk about the
Money!
I have to say it's genuinely ridiculous. Hamilton and Verstappen are pulling somewhere between 50 to 70 million dollars a year. Private jet, multiple houses, watches that cost more than most people mortgages. You give up your privacy for that. You cannot walk through an airport without being photographed, and you are not allowed to have a bad day in public. Every single word you say in an interview is calculated,
Are you giving me a stupid grin now?
and every public appearance is a performance. Verstappen once said he had the public side of Formula One, the event being Max Verstappen as the brand instead of just being Max. One driver described it as a living in the golden cage. So after the brutal training, the massive diets, until mental breakdowns, is it worth it? Because for the drivers like Senna or Schumacher or Hamilton or Verstappen, this wasn't really a choice. So next Sunday, when you are watching the race from your couch, just remember that person in the car has been preparing for 90 minutes for literally every single day of the past year. Anyway, that's it for today. Would you give up your normal life to be a Formula One driver, or you just want to be a normal person as you are supposed to do? 谢谢 guys.